Welcome to this series of modules on the 4 foundational documents that will be useful when writing a proposal. Writers will want to be familiar with the STARTALK endorsed principles, the World Readiness Standards, the Necessful Actual Can-Do statements, and the TEL framework. This module will address the TEL framework. STARTALK teacher programs primarily work with participants who are already working with students in an academic setting. The key question for teacher programs must be, what does our program need to do so that we prepare our participants to transfer new knowledge and skills into their own teaching environments? Clearly, participants need to know and be able to put into practice more than can be addressed in any short-term summer course. Successful programs narrow the focus so that participants are able to move from acquisition to application for the learning goals of the program. The TEL framework addresses the 7 domains shown here: environment, planning, learning experience, performance and feedback, learning tools, collaboration, and professionalism. Programs will need to carefully consider which domains and which criteria are best suited for their intended participants. Let's look closely at the domain of planning. There are 9 criteria in this domain and 25 sub-criteria. The criteria P6, I use the backward design process to plan lessons that lead students to meet unit performance objectives, is supported by a sub-criteria P6C, I plan activities that enable students to meet the daily performance objectives. Programs look at each of the domains and carefully select the criteria and the sub-criteria that they feel will best meet the needs of their participants. The teacher program goals in the proposal section ask that programs identify up to 4 representative major learning goals for the program. Programs are asked to identify the TEL domain, the criteria, and the sub-criteria. Student programs are asked to describe the professional development activities they plan to implement to prepare their staff prior to and during the program. Careful consideration of the TEL domains may provide direction for that professional development. In addition to identifying TEL domains, criteria, or sub-criteria, teacher programs must also look carefully at the connection to the STARTALK endorsed principles. The learning goals you see here come from the sample model curriculum for a teacher program found on the STARTALK website. The TEL domains and then the TEL criteria for the major learning goals are given. You will notice that the first goal references a TEL sub-criteria P6C shown on the previous slide. The 3 remaining goals reference TEL criteria. As the major learning goals are explained, the proposal response will also reference the connection to the STARTALK endorsed principles. Here, you can see that the first goal aligns with implementing a standards-based and thematically organized curriculum. The second aligns with facilitating a learner-centered classroom. And the third aligns with using the target language and providing comprehensible input. The fourth goal is not a separate principle, but is instead an aspect of each of the STARTALK endorsed principles. With the learning goals in place, programs are asked to describe the evidence that they will collect for each goal. The example should be specific to the program goals, and the evidence should be realistic and meaningful, allowing participants to transfer their learning into their own classrooms. The assessment sample here comes from the model teacher curriculum and shows how participants will provide evidence of learning. The TEL criteria statement P6C, I plan activities that enable students to meet the daily performance objectives, is anchored by the performance tasks, which allows the program to collect evidence of learning. That statement, the learning plan, participants will complete several learning plans that will guide their mini teaching practicum of teaching 4 one-hour lessons in a neighborhood summer camp. Therefore, the participants in this program will clearly demonstrate evidence that they are able to plan activities that allow students to meet daily performance objectives. Finally, programs are asked to comment on how participants will learn from each other. The response to this question should be specific to the goals of the program. It may be helpful to consult the self-assessment and feedback tools that are part of the TEL framework. Teacher folio tools found on the STARTALK website may also prove to be helpful. For additional resources, you may wish to visit the applicant resource page shown here. STARTALK and the National Security Agency thank you for your interest in submitting a proposal to promote the advancement of critical need languages for both teachers and students of those languages. Thank you.